JOE, Africa to America, A Dance Odyssey, is a collaborative effort between the Arts League of Michigan and the Cranbrook Institute of Science, made possible through funding provided by the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation. This stage show combines anthropology and dance to explore the historic and cultural connections between Africa and the Americas. All right, let's dance.
Excuse me there. Hey, yeah. What are you up to there?
Oh, I'm putting all the dishes. Look, I just learned the cat teddy.
Do you know any other dances?
Oh yeah, the Dougie.
I don't know, my friend. I'm afraid I have to tell you. I'm afraid I have to tell you that you might need a little bit of help here. I can appreciate your effort, but you might need just a little bit of help with your dancing. What do you think? Does he need a little bit of help? Yeah! I'm afraid my friends here agree that you might need a little bit of help with your dancing. But I tell you what, normally you spend hours and hours working in the dance studio on your moves, taking years to develop them, but I and my friends can help you out. In just 45 minutes, we can get you dancing far better than you are now. And not only that, we can teach you why people dance and where some of these dances come from. Would you be interested in that?
Yeah, but how much is that going to cost me?
Won't cost you anything, but a little bit of your time and the willingness to take a bit of a journey through time and space. And you're going to have to learn a couple of big words. Can you handle that?
Yeah.
All right. Can you handle that?
Yeah.
All right, then.
Well, it doesn't sound like they can handle that.
Can you handle that? All right, then. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I'll bring my friends back out, and they'll show you just what they can do. My friends are going to teach you how to dance because, you know, here in Detroit, people are always dancing. They're dancing downtown, they're dancing in clubs, they're dancing with their friends in backyards. Everywhere people love to dance. If you go down to Wayne State University, you'll find fraternities and sororities doing step routines. If you go downtown in the summertime in Detroit, well, then you have the Mardi Gras celebration, and you'll see people doing dances that come from the Caribbean. You'll see people dressed up as wild Indian dancers, for an example. And you might wonder where these dances come from. And I gotta say, it's all pretty complicated here. Let's take those step routines like they do down at Wayne State. Those come in part from military marching calls called jodies. They require a military precision. require more than just marching calls. These step routines come in part from jazz and tap dance. And where does jazz and tap dance come from? Well, in part from minstrel shows in the 19th century. These minstrel shows influenced 20th century ballroom dancers like Fred Astaire. Fred Astaire movies were shown to South African diamond miners who took Astaire's moves and put them into their gumboot dances. Dances that beated out the dangers and oppressions of working in the mines. But these gumboot dances had roots much closer to home. In part, they came from dances of the Zulu and the Xhosa people. These were war dances. Yes, and this, of course, requires military precision. And we're right back to where we started from. So you can see this story of dance gets pretty complicated. Are you still willing to make the trip?
Yeah.
Are you still willing to go along? Yeah. All right, well, let's really get started. Now, there are many paths we might take on this journey, but all of them begin in the continent of Africa, the cradle of mankind, home today to 1 billion people living in 54 different countries, belonging to many different ethnic groups. And we could choose to start anywhere in Africa. Let's take, how about Nigeria? What can you tell me about the country of Nigeria?
It has 159 million people.
It does indeed have 159 million people, members of many different ethnic groups, including the Yoruba people. That's where we get that word Jo, meaning to dance, from. Now, the Yoruba people have a long history. Hundreds of years ago, they were a part of the Oyo Empire, which ruled over much of what's modern-day Nigeria. If you're really going to understand dance and where it comes from, you have to understand the people who created it and their history. And this is where we get into some big words. Are you ready for your first big word? Yeah. And the word is anthropology. Everybody say anthropology. Anthropology. Yeah, I know, it's one of those big sciencey sounding words, but all it really means is the study of man. Anthropologists are people who study people. They do that in many different ways. They may dig up ancient artifacts from lost civilizations. They may study the languages that human beings speak and share with one another. They may choose to look at how people are physically very much alike and yet in some ways different. They may choose, for example, to study the genetic distribution of a certain trait within a population. However, almost all anthropologists are interested in what we call culture. You ever heard that word culture before?
Yeah, it's like when you go to the opera with your parents or something.
Well, it can mean that sort of thing, but for an anthropologist, a culture is a person's way of life, how they relate to other people. Whew. It includes everything about them, the clothes that they wear and apparently don't wash sometimes. It includes the language they speak, the religion they practice, the games they play, and where, when, why, and how people dance. Now don't be alarmed here. My friends are simply getting you ready to see if you can understand this idea of anthropology and culture by getting it into your body. They're going to show you a traditional West African dance here, and we want to see if you can catch the rhythm of the culture. Here we go. guys, give him a round of applause. He's starting to get the feel for it. What do you say? Do you feel that culture in your body? Well, let's see if we can get this idea of culture into your head. Because dance is more than just moving about. It's a way human beings communicate with one another. You just have to speak the language of the dance that you're seeing. We'll let an anthropologist break it down for you here on the screen. We're going to watch a little movie about the Galete dance of the Yoruba people.